Hi everyone, Animal Girl here, back with another edition of Movie Talk. And this week's movie is Adventures in Babysitting. Chris Parker agrees to babysit after her date stands her up. Expecting a dull evening, Chris settles down with 3 kids for a night of TV and boredom. But when her frantic friend Brenda calls and pleads to be rescued from the bus station in downtown Chicago, the evening soon explodes into an endless whirl of hair-raising adventures. Babysitter and kids must leave their safe suburban surroundings and head for the heart of the big city, never imagining how terrifyingly funny their expedition will become. Okay. Highlights of the movie. This movie was made back in 1987. So, of course, I am talking about the original Adventures in Babysitting, not the remake that came out about a year ago. Now, the reason why I chose the original and not the remake is because I happen to like the original a lot more. It is a lot funnier, especially considering that it was made in the 80s when we didn't have the technological advances that we do now. It's just not as believable that what happens in the remake could actually happen, where what happens in this movie could, because teens didn't have credit cards, there were no cell phones, so it does make a little more sense, and it makes it a lot more humorous. Speaking of which, this is a comedy film, and it does live up to its portrayal as a comedy film. It is extremely funny. And as stated in the description, this movie tells the story of one girl's very crazy night of babysitting. Now, I've babysat before, and I have never had as crazy an adventure as the one Chris does. I don't think many babysitters have. But it's still, from a former babysitter's point of view, it is still a very funny movie. And even from a current babysitter's point of view, or the point of view of someone who's never babysat before, it's just all in out, it's just funny. This is basically an all in out, very funny, very humorous movie. And you can tell even without the dating or the year it came out that this is an 80s movie based on the clothes and the slang and everything that they're using in the movie. It is very 80s. Okay, things I loved about this movie. First off, I loved the story. I thought this movie was extremely funny, and it is over-dramatized to a degree. Babysitting is not this dramatic, but it does make for a very good, very funny movie. I also really like how they go through like a whole series of crazy adventures in one night. You also have to take into consideration that 2 of the kids that she's actually babysitting for technically are old enough to not need a babysitter. They're both freshmen in high school, and she's a senior in high school. So technically they don't need the babysitter. They could actually have been watching the little girl, and that's what she was actually hired to babysit for. And that's what makes the movie funny, is that really the only one out of the whole group that needs the babysitter is the little girl. The other 2 kids that she's in charge of really don't need a babysitter. They're about, trying to think here, 14, 15 years old. So that's what really makes the movie even more funny. Secondly, I loved the ending. Now, this isn't 80s comedy movie, so it does end on a very happy note. And that in and of itself, and I don't really think that's much of a spoiler, but that in and of itself really makes the movie, I mean, she goes from having this, from being on cloud nine at the beginning of the movie to being depressed, shortly thereafter to being stressed out through the majority of the movie while still having somewhat fun with the kids, to ending up on cloud nine at the end of the movie. I'm not going to give away everything, like, where all this happens. Just know that that's kind of where she is going emotionally in the movie. But other than that, that's like all the details I'm going to give on that. I'm not going to give away any big major spoilers. So I did like the ending. I thought it was really cute. And there's actually a post-credit scene at the end, which is kind of humorous as well. But I'm not going to say where it is because it kind of gives away some of the stuff that happens in the movie. So we'll just leave it at that. Thirdly, I loved the crazy situations they got themselves into. These are things like, oh my God, no sane person would get into these situations, and yet they do, and it's just so funny. And that's all I can think of to say. It's just so funny. It's so humorous. If I could think of anything else that is like fits in with funny and humorous, I would use it. But that's just it. It's just a lot of the situations they get into are just crazy and wacky, and like no sane person would actually get into these situations. And it just, they make the movie basically, is basically what I'm trying to say. So they just really make the movie. Okay, cast. This did not have a big cast of actors. It actually had a very small acting pool. The majority of them we actually see the majority of the time, and those are the ones that I have listed here. Now, there are some that are secondary characters, such as Chris's boyfriend, who I did not list because we only see him in a few scenes at the beginning of the movie and near the end of the movie. So anyone who is listed who is given credit a name in the movie but is not listed here, you can go on Wikipedia to find out who actually played them. But for the characters we see a majority of the time of the movie, we have Chris Parker, who is the babysitter, was played by Elizabeth Shue, I believe is how you say her name. And if I mispronounce anyone's name, character or actor-wise, I apologize. And we have Brad Anderson, who is one of the two boys who she's watching, but is in high school, so technically she doesn't need to watch them. He was played by Chris Coogan, I believe is how you say his name. Daryl Coopersmith, who is Brad's best friend, was played by Anthony Rapp, I believe is how you say his name. Sarah Anderson, who is a little girl that Chris was actually hired to babysit, was played by Mia Bruton, I believe is how you say her name. Brenda, who is Chris's best friend, was played by Penelope Ann Miller. Joe Gipp, who is a car thief who's actually looks out for them, which is really unique and one of the things I absolutely loved about the movie as well, was played by Calvin Leaves. Bleak, I believe is how you say his name, is the person who runs the car theft ring. Was played by John Davis Shandel, I believe is how you say his last name. And Graydon, who is Bleak's second in command, was played by Ron Canada, I believe is how you say his last name. Again, if I mispronounced any of those names, I apologize. Okay, question of the week. What is the craziest thing to ever happen to you while babysitting? Now, this is a two-sided question. For the kids who are watching this movie, what is the craziest thing you've ever done with your babysitter while babysitting? And for the babysitters, what's the craziest thing that's ever really happened while you were babysitting? Now, obviously, it's not going to be anything like from this movie, but still, I'm sure there are some really good stories out there on things, because we all know kids will do crazy, silly things, and sometimes there are very good stories out there. So please leave your answers in the comment section. I would absolutely love to hear some of them. And or all of them. And also feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section, and please like and subscribe if you are watching this on YouTube, or like and share if you are watching it on Facebook. Also feel free to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, and DeviantArt. I do have my name for those 4 sites right there on the screen, as well as the pictures I use for the icons. Please note, all pictures seen within this video belong to their respective artists. I own absolutely nothing. Okay, quick reminder on my comment rules. Okay, feel free to check out my other movie talk videos. My movie talk special edition videos. And my other videos. Okay, before I sign off, 2 things I'd like to touch on. First off, please note that my movie talk videos on Van Helsing, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, and Spooky Buddies, and my movie talk birthday special edition video on The Lion King are exclusively on my Facebook page as of the posting of this video. I will be doing re-uploads of these videos relatively soon. However, they won't be posted to YouTube until October. Now, I have a very good reason for this, and that is because Van Helsing and Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters are Halloween-ish movies, while Spooky Buddies is a Halloween movie. So it only makes sense to me to do the re-uploads in October of these 3 videos in October, which is when Halloween is. Now, as for The Lion King, it is the birthday special edition video. So again, it only makes sense to me to do a re-upload of that video on my actual birthday, which is in October. So please be patient. I will get the re-upload soon. It will just take a little bit of time. Also, there will be dual postings of 3 of my TV Talk videos. Star Wars, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and DreamWorks Dragons will be posted both to my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. All other TV Talk videos will be posted exclusively to my Facebook page. If you'd like to check out any of those videos, or the backlogged videos of Star Wars, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and or DreamWorks Dragons, you can check them out on my Facebook page. I will have the link in the description section. And just to make it a little easier on you guys, here is a list of all the TV shows I've either done TV Talk videos on or I'm currently doing TV Talk videos on. As always, thank you for watching, and have a very nice day.